We are two grade 5 early French immersion teachers who have a passion for innovation and creating an environment for students and teachers to think outside of the box. For this reason, we brought together our classes to allow our students to expand their learning beyond the walls of the classroom. Melissa Lee teaches at Elizabeth Park Elementary in Paradise. She has been teaching for 5 years and has a Bachelor of Education degree specializing in French immersion and is a recent graduate from Memorial's Master of Education program with a focus in information technology. Elizabeth Park Elementary ranges from K to 6 with a school population of just under 600 students. Melissa has 18 students in her class this year, 13 girls and 5 boys. An interest in STEM and project-based learning inspired Melissa to join the Teacher in Action program this year.
Megan Roome is a teacher at Villanova Junior High. She has a Bachelor of Education degree in French immersion and a Bachelor of Arts in French and English. As a recent Master of Education graduate in Information Technology, Megan was interested in continuing her learning to further benefit her students. Villanova Junior High, located in Conception Bay South, has a school population of approximately 600 students ranging from grades 5 to 8. This year, Megan has a class of 20 eager learners, 13 girls and 7 boys. Her interest in educational technology, hands-on learning, and the support of a like-minded colleague motivated her to join the Teachers in Action team.
The collaboration between both teachers and students was one of the main goals and indicators of success in our project.
This collaborative action research study focuses on the use of inquiry-based learning and the incorporation of cloud technology to increase student motivation. Our 2 classes collaborated online through Google Classroom and Skype to study the Newfoundland and Labrador Grade 5 Body Systems Unit. A focus was placed on collaboration, hands-on activities, and student inquiry to motivate and engage students in their learning. By incorporating inquiry-based learning practices into our classrooms and encouraging students to discuss their ideas and share their wonderings by means of cloud technology and live chat, we hope to increase student motivation towards science learning.
My favorite way of learning during the Body Systems unit was when we were building our models. It was very fun and interesting because we got to see how it really worked and we got to put all of our ideas into the project.
During our Body Systems unit, using the phrase "I wonder" has came up a lot. At the beginning of the year doing I wonder questions, it was harder for me to figure out what kind of questions I should ask, and they weren't as good as they got to the end of the year. We use I wonder questions for people like Dr. Chandra for figuring out what we want and need to know about the body systems.
I learned working with other students that we can help each other make decide what we want to do. So if somebody else had an idea, you can help them if you have something that you think could help that, and people can help your idea.
Parents were informed of our research project during curriculum night in September. They were given a chance to ask questions to better understand our project goals. We followed up this information session by distributing consent forms in order to obtain parent consent to continue forward with our project.
The planning stage of our project started as a brainstorm of ideas. With the help of Rick Snow, Professional Learning Program Specialist for NLESD, and Tom Walsh, as well as other members of the TIA program, we were able to narrow down our ideas to determine our specific research questions and goals. Planning throughout the project included collecting resources for student learning, such as appropriate websites and informational text, compiling literature so that we were well informed on inquiry-based learning in the classroom, reaching out to experts in the medical field that we could connect our students with, and planning hands-on, student-centered lessons to implement in our classrooms. We were very ambitious throughout the planning of our project and had many ideas for creative, engaging lessons for our students. As usual, time was a factor, and we weren't able to include all of our ideas and lessons that we had come up with. However, overall, we found that the students learned more during this unit than in past years, thanks to the approach to learning that we implemented.
We began the implementation of this unit by bringing together both of our classes for the first time at Elizabeth Park Elementary, featuring special guest Mr. Tom. We introduced our students to each other and the use of inquiry for learning by means of I wonder statements. The students spent the morning collaborating and completing mini experiments together to get used to this new style of learning. Throughout the following months, we also engaged in many different learning activities and shared our learning with each other through Google Classroom and Skype. Students took part in the construction of models to represent different systems of the human body. They provided feedback to one another in person and via Google Classroom so that they could improve their models through the redesign process. These activities allowed students to learn that making mistakes is not a failure, but a platform for learning. Students also engaged in discussion using Skype to prepare for their visit to MUN's Med School, where we were lucky to get the opportunity to see Dr. Chandra's Anatomy Lab, the Clinical Learning Simulation Center, and MUN Med 3D's Printing Lab. Students reviewed their I wonder statements to come up with a list of questions they would ask Dr. Chandra upon arrival at MUN. We encouraged students to answer their own questions as a way for them to become more invested in their learning. They got to figure out what it was that they were truly wondering. Our last special guest was a Skype call from neuroscience PhD student Brian Roome from McGill University, who talked about his current research and the basics of how the nervous system works. Once again, students prepared their questions beforehand so that they could engage in discussion with Brian. He ended his presentation by challenging both classes to create models that represent the function of the nervous system. Students were excited to show their understanding and receive feedback from a real neuroscientist. Our focus throughout the implementation of this unit was to engage students in their learning so that it was authentic and meaningful. We wanted to make as many connections with experts outside of the classroom as possible and allow students to work hands-on in order to show them that answers to their wonderings can be found anywhere, not simply from their teacher or a textbook.
During this action research project, we collected data through pre- and post surveys, student work samples, teacher observation, videos, and photos. We then compiled our data and analyzed it for common themes. We compared the pre-surveys to the post-surveys to see how our students' opinions about science learning and the use of technology in the classroom were affected by the implementation of our project. Before the commencement of our project, we tended to focus on the curriculum outcomes in the knowledge column of the curriculum guide, more so than those found in the Science, Technology, Society, Environment, and Skills sections. Through this project, we were able to see more connections to the real world through a stronger focus on these outcomes. It was difficult at first to pass over so much ownership to the students and not to give them direct guidance when they experienced difficulty. But as we saw how students were growing and witnessed their successes, it became easier to let go of that control and create a truly student-centered learning environment. When we stopped focusing on the traditional pencil and paper style of learning,
we realized that we were able to make a better assessment of our students' learning through observation and discussions. We found that students who were traditionally weaker in the area of science became much more confident as they were given opportunities to express their understandings in a variety of ways. Students appeared much more engaged and motivated to learn when they were involved in the learning process. They took pride in the accomplishments and were excited to share their successes with others. Students became more confident in their abilities, which allowed them to better communicate their understandings.
At first, students showed frustration when they were presented with open-ended tasks, as they weren't used to seeking information and problem-solving on their own. Once students became more involved in the steps of redesign, they realized that learning was occurring throughout the process, and less importance was placed on the end product. Their I wonder statements also developed and strengthened over time. Students began producing higher order thinking questions, which showed that they were applying their knowledge and more engaged in their learning.
As we were applying inquiry-based learning practices in science class, we also found that we were applying these practices to other subject areas as well. When students are actively collaborating in their learning, they are more engaged and motivated to share their understanding and learn more. We've celebrated their successes and have witnessed the benefits of creating a student-centered learning environment. This project has changed the way we look at teaching and the way our students view learning. The experience of this project has encouraged us to continue to grow as teachers, which allows us to make the best possible learning environment and opportunity for our students to come. Our students best demonstrate the success of this project through the learnings they have gained. This video is one of the many pieces that were created and completely student-led. It demonstrates many of our key learning points and is a great example of learning through the process of inquiry and creation.
For our science project on how messages are sent to the brain, we made a homemade lava lamp.
When you put an alcohol system, the bubbles start to float and descend, which represents the messages flowing from the brain to any of your body parts.
This is really easy to make, and all you need is a bottle. It doesn't have to be bigger than a bottle. Some water that's dyed any color of your choice, some oil, and of course an alcohol.
And here's a demonstration of how it works.
So it just takes a minute. And then, as you can see, there's a whole bunch of little bubbles being sent and present the messages.
When it stops, all you have to do to get it going again is just put another alcohol.
And this will last you a very long time. So it's really, really cool. If you just leave it for a minute, a lot of bubbles will be, because there's a lot of messages being sent to the brain. And this took us a couple times. The first time it did not work because nothing was happening. The second time, again, nothing was happening. And this was our third try, and finally the third try it worked. When you're doing projects like this, it's not going to work at the first time. So yeah, that was our science project.